Welcome back.
Welcome back.
We are the House Sisters. And
Sisters selling houses.
we're real sisters selling houses.
Yes, we are. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about pools. Everybody wants a pool this summer, right? Is it because it's been
since
like
COVID,
100?
I think you're like stuck in your house. So you're like, okay, we can't go to the public pools.
I mean, it's hot in the Central Valley.
Yeah.
So,
and now everyone's like, okay, let's get a pool.
yeah. So, and
Getting a pool company to come out to even quote you can be difficult.
pricey. So
It's difficult.
let's talk all things pools. Let's talk value of pools. Let's talk safety, looking for a house with a pool versus putting in your own pool. I mean, there's so much that goes along with pools, and it's summer, and so houses with pools right now are really going, going
Doing
faster,
well.
going into contract, accepting offers faster than houses without pools. And partly that's because pools have become like pretty expensive to put in. So
The demand was higher.
the demand has been pretty
demand
high
has
since
been high.
COVID. People wanted to make their home like their own retreat where they could have their own entertainment because we weren't really allowed to hang out with others and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And although that's changing and we are getting back to a more normal environment and a more normal culture, pool building installation has just really exploded.
Skyrocketed.
So if you can find someone to put in a pool for you, you're going to realize that you're paying a lot more than you would have probably 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, 3 to 5
In the
years
last
ago, the average cost to put in a pool was about $50K in our area, and I would say now that's likely a lot closer to $100,000 than $50,000, depending on the finishes.
We just resurfaced our pool and added like a little landing,
Cabo
like
shelf.
a little Cabo shelf, and that was like about $16,000.
Yeah.
that was just resurfacing. It's already there. It's already dug.
The
it's already
pump, no
done.
replacement of the
No
pumps.
Like I even did it like. They're like, do you want to change the tile? And I'm like, no.
Keep the tile. We'll deal with that next
I
year.
just-
Another
yeah.
16 grand.
Yeah.
So really, they used to say pools don't really add value to your home. Well, I would kind of argue that now. I think pools in areas that are hot, like Scottsdale, Arizona, or Sacramento, California, are going to add value to your home versus a house without a pool. So it's not a blanket amount. It's not like, oh, you have a pool, your house is worth $25,000 more. It really depends on your pool. And we just actually personally met with an appraiser to discuss this topic because there's a lot of questions going around to us
Right.
about it. And her response was exactly that. It really, really depends on the pool. So if you have water features, if you have, the size, if you have rocks and tile and
And if
upgrade
it looks good, if the enamel or like if it's Pebble Tech or if it's
gunite,
plaster, and
all of that is going to go into how the
is there a
value.
slide?
Yeah, is there a slide? Do you have jets?
Is it
and
well
lighting?
maintained? Is it a dual or triple pump? I don't even know.
Yeah, so really it depends on your pool. So if you have questions about your house and what it's worth specifically based on the pool you have or the pool you don't have, call us and let us look at what's sold in your neighborhood with pools and without pools and what kind of difference we're really seeing. That will help us gauge the value.
Ultimately, like with any upgrade on a house, you don't want to put too much into your house if you can't get a return from that. So like the end game is to get the best return. So they're all situational. So yeah, like you said, reach out and
talk to us specifically. Let us take pictures, send them to us. Say, look, we're thinking about doing this, or we've already done this. What could we add, or what would benefit us more? Or hey, we did this pool 5 years ago, or we moved in with this pool. We want to sell. What's our house worth with this pool? Should we do any repairs on it or updates or anything?
Yeah.
So it's all very situational, and we're happy to help you guys on an individual level with that. But we also really want
it's summer, so we want to speak
Safety, absolutely. If you buy a house with a pool and you're coming from a home that did not have a pool, there are definitely some safety measures you need to take, even if you do not have small children in your home. Animals, teenagers, elderly, pools can be dangerous, right?
Yeah.
They're most of the time just fun and good for entertainment, but they can be dangerous. And that's why we want to share a pretty traumatic experience that we went through as a family, with Brittany specifically, so that you can understand the need for all of the codes,
the magnitude of how simple and easy, and that it can happen to anybody.
And the security and safety measures, they're so annoying when you're going through the sale process or like the installation of a pool process. You're like,
or your day-to-day, that like the chime on the door or whatever. It's
but they're
annoying sometimes.
Absolutely necessary, essential, and such a small thing to deal with in order to keep people safe. So, Brittany.
So yeah, we have a pool and we have it gated. and we doing our pool repair, like for permitting reasons, like we have to do like a door alarm. So we have those. There's like a little buoy that if the water moves, it'll chime. Things like that. So like make sure you have, I was talking to a swim instructor and they said like you should have like 3 to 5 barriers between a child in the pool or like a parent or a animal in the pool for safety reasons. So like the chime on your door or your alarm chime. So it kind of, okay, why did I just hear that? I need to go check to see who walked out that back door. My 2-year-old who can open our doors and go out there. I mean, she's 3 now, but that or us being in the backyard and then the wave chime goes off because there's movement in the pool, things like that. You definitely need those barriers to give yourself a fighting chance because 2 years ago when Peyton was this was actually during COVID, so she was almost 2020,
almost 2.
She was a year and a half.
Oh, okay.
She was a year and a half. It was right after 4th of July, so I want to say like the end of June and the beginning of July, and I were
September
in the pool, really working on, really working on swimming and stuff. So I feel like there was a good week or 2 weeks that her and I every night we'd kind of go in. It was so hot, like we obviously didn't have anything to do because it was COVID. Yeah. I was off work, and but we were in the pool together. And we were practicing, and I was making her just be confident and not frightened by it. And I was making her go underwater, and I was trying to teach her to hold her breath, and I was trying to tell her she needs to kick her legs and move her arms. And anyways, so we did that. So one day I'm in the backyard with her, like we both go on the inside of the gate. And I'm like pruning a bush, it was a hydrangea, and those always like dry up. And so there was like chunks in there that I was just trying to dry chunks of leaves that I was just pulling out. And she was walking around the backyard. We have like a big grass area. So she was like going back and forth from like the play set, I think. Anyways, she's like she's eating a popsicle, and I turned my back to her, and we were both inside the pool gate. So I was really close in proximity, and I thought I would hear it. I thought that you would hear something like that. And my back was to her, and I'm pruning this bush, and she just is walking around the pool, and she just cuts the corner too soon, and she falls in the pool. It is the most terrifying video to watch. Like, it makes me nauseous. It's horrifying to even think about. Like, it's such a hard
Well, the hard part is you're watching it, and the whole time you're like, turn around, Brittany, turn around. Because the baby's in the pool, just face down. Well, she's face down in the pool, huh?
No, so she like slips on like the edge. So she kind of goes upside down initially, but you can see her in the video kind of like she gets her grounding and she gets back up to the water. This is in the deep end. She can't reach. She's only like a foot away from the edge. Like she could, if she like was any bigger.
Well, had the logic.
Yeah. Right. Like she could have probably grabbed the edge, or there's even like a step right there. Yeah. So like if she probably put her arm out, she probably would have been able to fine. Anyways, but so she's in there and she's like treading water. Like, I truly think that like the only reason she survived was the week before us practicing, because it wasn't a shock to her going underwater. Yeah. So I think
she had
if she would have
bit of
just enough
foundation of swimming to keep her
to know, don't freak out. It's okay. You're just underwater for a second. Like it's okay. And so she's going up and down under the water. She's in there for 44 seconds. 44 seconds.
Oh, I didn't even.
It doesn't sound like a lot.
It feels like a long time on the video.
It is a long time. Like when you put something in the microwave for 1 minute and you're standing there watching, it does feel like a long time.
It does. Or running on a treadmill.
Yes. You're like, I'm only going to 10, and you're like, it's 2, and
you're like, I'm only going to 3.
But no, so she falls in the water, and she is just, trying to survive. And finally, I turn around and I jump, and
she leapt across the whole pool. If you've ever seen a Superman movie, they ain't got nothing on a mom's jump if their kid's in trouble.
Yeah, I had a weird feeling. I turned around, and I was like, oh no, where is she? And I'm like scanning the backyard, and I'm running because I'm like, maybe she's in the house. Like maybe she walked back into the house. And so I'm like running, and at the last minute I see her in the corner of my eye in the pool, and I just like leap over the rocks to get into the pool. I basically probably wave crasher.
Fully clothed.
Yeah, fully clothed. She is too. Like
she crashes into the side of the pool.
Oh my God, it was
that
horrifying.
didn't happen, but Brittany just grabbed her.
I almost cleared the pool. Like it was so traumatizing. And so I get her out. She was more upset that she was just in wet clothes. Like she was just like, what the heck? She does not like jumping in the pool with her clothes on. I always like say, "We want to be crazy and jump in the pool with clothes on." She's like, "No." She does not like that.
In wet clothes like that.
Yeah, me too. But like, it's just fun,
Yeah, I guess. I just wouldn't expect a 3-year-old to really care, but
yeah, exactly. But she was more upset about that. And then I was worried about like dry drowning, or like that if she gasped when she went in and swallowed it and there's liquid in her lungs or something like that. I was terrified. And then on top of that, then you have to call your spouse, like, because Rob wasn't home at that point. He's at Wilton and at the fire station. And I remember calling him and he was just like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, even telling him, like, even right now, like, I feel like I'm about to cry because I just
feel
the
so
anxiety
guilty.
And the guilt and everything. Like, you think it's loud enough to hear, but our dogs step in the pool all the time, and start drinking the water and doing dog stuff.
So it was easy to think maybe
it was
that
a noise
was
that
happening.
you were comfortable with. Like, it was just like, oh, that's the dogs. Or, I mean, it didn't even faze me. It was just like, it was silent. And then
sometimes when you fall in the pool, it's not like a cannonball.
Right. And like her going like this didn't make enough noise for me to hear. And I'm only feet away, maybe 20 feet away from her. Like, but yeah, so it's silent. It happens. It's real. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that
the story doesn't end a different way.
Because there's no reason she shouldn't have drowned. Like, ultimately, she should have died in that moment. Like, or she could have. Like, and that is the scariest thing, that I made one mistake of keeping my back towards her and not having the things in place that should have been there. Like, if we had that buoy in the pool at that time, that would have triggered my attention. Even if I glanced and took the buoy out or something, just been like, the dogs.
It would have been a call to action. Like, notice this.
Right. And as annoying as those things can be in your household, putting that alarm on your door, putting that buoy in your water.
Or having a pool gate.
And having a pool gate. As annoying as those things, as aesthetically not pleasing that those things can be, it is a life and death situation. And I'm so thankful that my child survived to teach me that lesson. But some people are not as fortunate. Some situations are very different, and it's very real. And I hope that someone watching this puts those precautions in place so that we can save more children's lives, because it is a real and a very dangerous and terrifying, horrific experience we had to live through.
Yeah.
So
thanks for sharing that. That's emotional. I can see tears in your eyes.
And you definitely squeeze your kids a lot tighter after that stuff. I literally slept with her that night.
I don't know if we mentioned this, but Brittany has security camera on the back of her house, so we were actually able to watch this all happen.
The whole thing, yeah.
It was just heart-wrenching. But the good thing is Peyton's fine. She's still a little whippersnapper. She's more of a firecracker for it, I think. But pool safety, if you're going to have a pool, just understand there's safety measures that need to be taken. There's precautions that need to be taken, and they need to be followed in strictly, because accidents happen.
Yeah, accidents happen, and it's so quick. And it's so easily be distracted by something. And I've heard so many stories, and even like famous people's where their kids have died and they're having a party and there's 10 adults around. Like, things happen, and noise, and you get distracted. Like, and
it's
then
life.
Yeah.
So let those precautions work for you.
Totally. Let them do their job. And it's annoying and frustrating and hideous or whatever. Like, even Rob's like, oh my gosh, why do we have to do this for the city? And I'm like, I'm actually glad that we now know that this is out there that we can put in place so that we can make sure that Bubby's now safe. Because now we're starting over with our new baby that we're going to have to teach how to swim and make sure he has the survival tools to survive if something does happen. It's a real, and it's scary, and I just hope that everyone takes it as seriously as it needs to be.
Yep, absolutely. And I mean, pools can be great. We just had a great party for my 6-year-old with the water slide and the pool. And I mean, we had eyes on the pool. We had eyes on the water slide area.
If nothing else, if you're going to have a party, hire a lifeguard. Like there are kids out there that are trained
that's a great idea.
lifeguards that during the party, that is their sole thing, is to watch the pool, make sure all the kids are, safe.
And especially if you're going to be barbecuing and drinking as adults.
And having friends and just like
going in and out.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, I just went to the bathroom. Is anybody watching the 3-year-old?
Also, it actually terrifies me, like when we do have parties, if like some parents aren't as attentive to their child as other parents. And so I'm like, okay, when I notice that, I'm like, my eyes are on their kid the whole time. Like I'm like just another
But
set
until
of eyes.
somebody asks you, hey, can you grab me a cup from inside? And then you walk inside. You're like, okay.
Exactly.
And I've done that a million times myself. We have a pool at our house as well. So, I mean, we've had the alarms on the doors. We have had the pool fence. We've had it all. And right now the pool fence is down, but the doors are still monitored.
Monitored.
So.
But
my girls can swim now, but that doesn't matter.
Right, because then my kids who are tiny go over to her house. Keep that in mind. Like, you can take the pool gate down. Your kids know how to swim. But what about when you have guests that don't necessarily have kids that know how to swim, or they don't know the safety, or they don't feel like they have the tools?
And a lot of my friends with young children were like, you're going to keep that pool fence closed when my kid's over here, right? Like if I was watching Riker for the afternoon, or if Adeline was over or something, it was like there were parents that double checked with me, like, okay, so you're going to keep the pool fence shut while they're here? Yeah. And I'm like, yes, of course. Or we had like a Super Bowl party and, the kids come over, we're letting them do chalk outside because it's 75 degrees in February. And, there's a pool fence up. So we're like, okay, they're safe,
Right.
Because there's just times, there's opportunities these kids get into these situations and you just can't foresee it, Yeah. So, yeah.
And we're only human. We only have 2 eyes. And like, distraction is inevitable.
Yeah, absolutely. So be safe. If you want tips for pool safety, we can send you the link from the County of Sacramento.
Yes.
We can also give you like our
tips on
experience with different
companies and swim
tools
lessons
that people use, different.
Yeah. So. And also local swim lesson recommendations, because we have worked with a few providers that have done great with our kids.
So thank you for listening. And we do love pools, and we still swim in them. We still swim in,
and we have our own pools.
Yeah. So I mean, I would never buy a house without one. So I'm not knocking on pools, but there's definitely a level of safety, and that it needs to be tended to.
Yeah.
So, but thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions, or if you have any examples or any stories you want to share, get off your chest, please reach out to us directly. We're happy to.
With no judgment. I was always so scared to even share that story. Only my close friends really knew about it.
But it's such a powerful testimony to
bring awareness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally. And I would love to know your stories and be able to learn from your experiences too, because I'm sure there's stuff out there I still could, do to make sure that we're protected the best way we can be.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the House Sisters out.